What's your first impressions of the bunker?
Well, it's ugly, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, it looks very 1990s sort of a thing, doesn't it? And the guys say it's actually worse inside than it is outside. It's kind of strange because it's here in the middle of an industrial estate. So across the way, what do we have? That's obviously
a car dealership.
Car dealership, right? And we had a Smith's Toys superstore on the way in.
Of course.
KFC, where I'm going to get you your lunch. So, yeah, it's a sort of industrial estate, and at the very end of a road where you could drive up is this bunker, and it's a big day. Just to see kind of what's going to happen next. There might be a new guy representing him today. This is the big story, I suppose, whether or not he gets a new lawyer or else. Because it was talk that he was going to represent himself. They haven't been able to contact this lawyer that they suspect is being employed by him. He hasn't been answering calls apparently during the week and stuff, so they're going to wait and see if he shows up basically here. I presume the press pack that are here will approach him if he does show up and start asking him questions. We'll have to just hold back given that we don't have great touch. But it'll be interesting to see them.
Well, maybe Jan will arrive before.
Yeah, I wonder where Jan is actually. I'm Nicola Tallant, and you're listening to Crime World, a podcast about criminals, drugs, and the sins of the underworld in Ireland and across the globe. The Marengo trial is the largest ever held in the Netherlands, and at the centre of it sits gang leader Ridouan Taghi, a business partner and friend of Daniel Kinahan, who's rained terror on Europe. A street dealer turned millionaire cocaine boss, he's the epitome of a new order of criminal, a frightening breed of gangster who has taken on a state. Today, in the first of a number of dispatches, we're going into the bunker in Amsterdam, where Taghi is on trial for multiple gangland murders, and where we are going to meet Crime World regulars, the journalists Jan Meeus and Saskia Belleman, for the first time, as they work this very dangerous beat. This is Crime World, a podcast from SundayWorld.com. There's Jan there, is it?
So, we finally meet in person.
Yeah, good to meet you.
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah, good. Do they know if he's here?
Well, he's not coming, but they're trying to wait to see if he has a new lawyer. Is it?
Probably not.
Probably not.
No.
The new
Lawyer is
lawyer.
also not coming.
Volgens OM heeft hij zich in ieder geval niet officieel gesteld. Dus dan zou hij zich als belangstellende of zo, maar hij staat niet op een lijst.
So he's on a video
He's
call.
on video link, exactly. So, and then this lawyer isn't coming then, obviously.
But anyway, so this is where we've been spending our time.
Yeah, it's
the
grim
past.
looking, isn't it? I mean, we have to be honest about it.
You know,
It's pretty grim.
This is just an old warehouse or something, and they converted it into a court for a big trial, or what was considered a big trial in the 90s.
Yeah.
And it was like a temporary thing, but as things goes with temporary things, it's still here. I have to say, I was here early 18 when we were talking. I was like, yeah, I think there's another big case coming up, and that was like February or something, 2018. And now the drone is up. That's usually a sign that there's things going to happen.
What do you mean? Like, what would that be
That's
there
a
for?
drone up
yeah,
there.
I see it, yeah. He obviously...
So that's like more than 5 years ago.
I mean, my God.
And then like 6 weeks later or something, 2 months later, they announced the deal witness, Nabil.
Right.
And ever since...
So does he come, or only when he's...
Only when it's his day in court. So we have 17 suspects.
Yeah.
Most of them are still in jail on like a temporary injunction that keeps them in jail. And then the cases are separated. So there's each suspect has his, they're all men, his case.
Yeah.
And they are tried together. So it means that if somebody says something in one case, and so for instance a witness makes statement in one case, and another suspect or attorneys of another suspect want that evidence also in their file, then they have to request, and then it's joined. But formally, it's separate cases, and today it's only the case of Taghi.
Right.
So that's why all the other suspects and all the other defense attorneys are not here, because it's only his case. And then, apparently we're just going to hear from him through a video link. And there was word that he had a new attorney, but apparently that attorney did not formally register with the district attorney's office. So it's kind of unclear what the status is. And that's what today is all about.
And the interest is about that as well.
Because
so that's probably there for what? I mean,
security.
He's not coming, but who?
No, then there is
the lawyers and for the
judges, the district attorneys. They're all in some type of security measures. So they don't come here on their own.
So do they get driven up this road
They
here?
get driven, yeah. They get driven.
Up along here, and then they just...
Actually, the guy's coming there, walking there, that's Guy Beski. He's the son...
Oh, that's the son of Ines.
The son
Beski.
of Ines.
He looks like her from here, even.
Yeah. And...
he's got that black
I
hair.
don't know why he's here.
Is he a lawyer?
He's a lawyer, yeah. He's also
What did he be?
defending a couple of suspects.
They're all getting excited there, look.
His mother got arrested.
Yeah, so she's still kind of under suspicion, and she's denied anything,
So
but
she
can't no longer represent him because
she can no longer. But she was in protective custody for 4 or 5 weeks or so, 6 weeks maybe, and then she, at the latest hearing, she was released, and now we are all waiting and wondering what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
Like, how would you say the security compares to the Regency trial?
I feel it's a bit loose. Do you?
Yeah.
Are you with me? I mean, there's so many buildings around us, and some of the lawyers are walking in. It's obviously, I mean, it is just not a purpose-built building, is it?
No.
I mean, they're pulling up, they're getting out, they're going in the front door. Is there more industrial stuff around the corner there? There probably is.
We say loose, but I mean, Jerry Hutch did walk out the front door and up the
I
street.
know, yeah, exactly, yeah. And the other two suspects were in and out and having lunch and their picnics around the court. But no, I mean, just from a point of view like that, say that up there, look at that, the amount of, elevated viewing platforms there are of this.
You worried about snipers?
I would be if I was of importance, but I am not, especially in this country. So,
There's a lot of cars. There's a lot of traffic. There's a lot of passing.
There's a lot of ordinary business going on nearby.
Yeah.
Take my jacket off, I'm so hot. And who's this on the motorbike? Just up you go.
Deliveroo, I guess.
Deliveroo. Right up past the door. This building is possibly, parts of it are empty. The windows look as if they're certainly not kept clean or anything. It feels we're just saying, it doesn't feel as secure as you'd expect. It kind of feels really weird.
What?
Because it doesn't feel as secure as I would have expected it to feel. There's so many opportunities up on those elevated buildings and stuff.
Yeah, but you have to realize that they've been monitoring this area. They close it off from there and from there. So it looks like there's a lot of ways, but there's not. And then if you would walk behind there, there's probably police there too.
Right.
And there's no really. I mean, if Taghi had been here physically, it would have been a lot stricter.
Right.
So there's nothing.
Do any of his supporters or family or anybody ever come?
No.
They stay away.
No. Only in the very first day of the official start of his case.
Yeah.
There was a group supporters, and they were demonstrating in white T-shirts. If you would look it up, there's photos available. Like they had T-shirts with some slogan about him.
Right.
I mean, the start was during Corona time, so the access was limited, and then there was an extra location on the airport where there was a video link, and that's why they were there. But I mean, that first day, there was So there
Remember
was,
there was
above
choppers
that,
and all in
above
the
that
air, wasn't
building, there was like 2 drones deployed, and then there was 1 helicopter really high in the sky, and then when they brought him in,
Yeah.
so you saw this helicopter coming, and he was in a convoy with like 3 Range Rovers, and then helicopter had an open door and was hanging maybe 100, 150 meters above somebody, weaponed like that, was hanging out,
Right.
and that's when they drove him in.
When do we go in?
Whenever you want to go. I don't know if you guys want to, if you want to catch some blue lights and.
Yeah, I do. Definitely.
I mean,
We don't want to. Inside the first door of the bunker, security tightens. It's a bit like a bank. Each door locks before another opens, and it's one person in at a time. Then there is this airport-style security machine. Bags, shoes, coats and everything else is put through the X-ray machine while armed military stand and watch. Passport ID is required and our names are checked and cross-checked before we get inside. There's a media holding area as such, but in typical Dutch style it's quite dignified. There's even sandwiches and machines that dispense coffee and tea. We wait to be called into the courtroom and eventually the queue forms. Inside, unlike the usual wooden surrounds of a normal criminal court, this one is different. The media are held behind glass in a room that really isn't unlike a lecture hall. The blinds are down, but I know that on the other side of those windows will be the lawyers and the judges who've been overseeing this incredible case. There's a moment of silence before the blinds begin to raise. No doubt the journalists here for years covering this case know every sound and every trigger that heralds that the case is on. I strain to see what's in front of me. I can see the judges at the top, 4 of them, the senior counsel to my left and their right. Lawyers sit with their backs to us, and to my right, a massive screen shows the face of Ridouan Taghi. He looks kind of normal, considering our surrounds and all that has occurred here. He's relaxed, almost smug. He speaks when he's addressed, and he leans into the camera on the desk in front of him. He's a bit bloated, but smiling and very well groomed. He speaks in Dutch and addresses the court. I look around for the reaction of my fellow journalists. I can see they're not pleased with the proceedings. Taghi is looking for them to be excluded as he talks to the judges in private, in camera they call it, about his legal representation. And it looks like he's winning. Suddenly, the 21 members of the media sigh collectively and start throwing their pens on the desks in front of them. They begin to mumble, but quickly their voices raise. Taghi looks into the camera and he raises a thumb. Then he smiles. He's clearly won this little battle and he's happy. So yeah, you could feel the disquiet there in the court, couldn't you? We don't have any Dutch, but you could see the journalists starting to look at one another, and I think Jan had kind of expected that anyway to happen, but you could see them, the gasps of disbelief.
Like, even if you couldn't understand what was being said, you knew something
definitely
weird was happening or something a little off.
And he, to me, we're just looking at him on a screen, but he looks bloated. I thought, again, without the language, and you don't know what's happening, but you have an idea he's applying for this in camera. I knew he was going to be asking for that. But he had that sort of smugness about him, a smug look, I felt. He was sitting back, very relaxed and well-dressed today. They've said that they haven't seen him before in a shirt. He obviously just comes in a T-shirt or whatever. He's well-groomed. They appear to have kind of granted him this facility to talk to them behind closed doors because there's all the complications with the lawyer getting arrested and him trying to get a new lawyer. Who, when we arrived here this morning, everybody was expecting a lawyer to come along, and obviously that didn't happen. So nobody knows, does he have a legal team, does he not have a legal team? Wesky's son is there, but he's not representing him and won't be. Saskia seems to say no, and they don't want delay. I can totally understand that, the length of time this has gone on. But talk about taking the right day to come. I mean, lastminute.com perhaps, but at least we got to see what could be the very end of Marengo, open to the public, like. Saskia, how are you?
Oh, hi.
We've spoken so many times.
Yeah.
Oh,
Good
yeah.
to see you. I didn't
too,
recognise
yeah.
you.
I saw I was admiring your ring, actually, when we were inside.
Really?
Yeah, we just came over to have a look.
See Marengo.
See Marengo.
Might be the only few minutes
I've
you've seen.
I've been meaning to come for so long, and then I just said, in case this happens, I'll come and see.
Yeah.
It's funny, we've just come out of a big trial in Ireland to do with
Kinahan?
the Kinahans, yeah. And so it's in a purpose-built courtroom, so everybody comes in underneath. So this felt really strange, like with business going on as normal, and it doesn't feel very secure here.
No, it doesn't.
You know,
There has been an attack on this building once when there was a Dutch criminal on trial here years ago. They with a rocket launcher, they shot projectiles inside. Nothing happened, only one went off, but on the top floor. So nothing really happened, the trial just went on. The only safety they've got is the army and the police outside, drones in the air, helicopters in the air. But that's it. I think if you really want something here,
I think
you
so
can do
too,
it.
because
It wouldn't be too difficult.
Like there's people going around on bicycles, there's people delivering food, there's like businesses going on over there, businesses going on here.
You can do all kinds of things without being noticed.
Anyway, look, you've got this far, so hopefully nothing will go on
see.
before the end of it. But it's good to see him even on the screen.
So this is the first time we could really see him in his face.
Yeah,
It
so it's a good day to come.
Yeah. I'm glad I've seen him, but I would have wanted to hear him as well. I wanted to know why he wants this behind closed doors and safety reasons.
So they might give you a little bit more information today,
hope
is
so.
that it?
Yeah, I
That's
hope
what you're
so.
hoping for,
Yeah.
And they'll let you back in and maybe the judges will address you.
Yeah, he
The
won't.
media.
He won't.
He won't.
But the judges will.
Explain to us what happened with Wesky.
She was arrested because she's, according to the prosecutors, she must have brought messages from Ridouan Taghi to the outside and from the outside inside the maximum security prison, which is obviously forbidden. They want to cut him off from his criminal organization, and they had information that he was still able to communicate with the outside world. Now, there was already one lawyer who got arrested and is convicted to 5 years imprisonment. Yeah, that was his nephew. But they couldn't refuse him to help his cousin until he proved to be leaking information. But already before this nephew or this cousin came into the picture, there was information leaking out and also coming in. And after he got arrested also. So there had to be another leak. And according to the prosecutors, that is Ines Wesky, his lawyer.
But I mean, you'd be surprised by that, because I remember you telling me before that she had this, because I think I made some silly remark, but I made some silly remark, like she kind of looks scary or whatever. She's kind of gothy looking and she's a little bit sinister looking. But
in practice, she's not sinister at all.
No, she's been practicing for years with
40 years.
With an absolutely clean record.
Never done anything wrong. She's the example of integrity among lawyers. She's
And
always
she's
very
denying.
much stressing rules. Whenever rules are being violated, she's the first one to complain about it. She is denying. She says she didn't do that. And she's not being prosecuted now for being part of a criminal organization that kills people, but for being part of a criminal organization that deals with drug trafficking. So the information she, according to the prosecutor, has passed didn't endanger people's lives, as far as we know. But we still don't know exactly.
And she's denied it, and maybe it's, you know what I mean, maybe she didn't do anything.
That's very possible. We don't know.
Yeah.
We heard a few app conversations that were being exchanged between Ines Wesky and the family of Ridouan Taghi. Maybe there is a good explanation for it, but it did sound as if Ines Wesky first tried to prevent her from being forced to leak information. The son and the sister of Ridouan Taghi were complaining about the fact that she never answered her phone, that she didn't react to messages. They said that they had to find another lawyer and that she would have to pick up the phone whenever they called her. So it sounded as if she tried to resist, but it's possible that she wasn't able to resist him very long. We don't know exactly.
He's such an anarchist, isn't he? And he's against the whole world. He's against the whole system. It's like he has a belief in himself that he is almost like a superpower or something.
That's exactly what he said. He said, I'm already convicted. So, months ago he said that. I'm not coming to the courthouse anymore because you already wrote the verdict. So just take it out of your pocket, read it, and then I can stay where I am. I don't need to travel to and fro.
To the judiciary or to the media?
To the court.
Yeah. So he's he's very against the media as well.
Yeah,
I mean, it was in the Telegraph
that's obviously because we are a danger to him. Two of my colleagues are under protection.
24-hour security. Yeah.
Because of threats that are supposedly coming from him,
and they will continue to be. I mean, they're not going to pull that security on them.
No, they will go on writing about him.
Yeah.
Whenever they find news, they will publish it.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, it's a big sacrifice because your private life is gone.
God.
You can't do anything anymore. You can't decide to have dinner with your wife spontaneously. You can't go to the gym just whenever you want it. You will always have to deal with security.
You're losing your freedom.
Yeah, entirely.
He was complaining about having to wear handcuffs, moving from place to place in the prison and all the rest of it. And do you know anything about his incarceration? Is it a tough regime he's under?
Yeah, the toughest at the moment, yeah. And I think if politicians get their way, a lot of politicians, the circumstances will only get tougher. And that had a lot to do with this lawyer that was able, the other lawyer, his cousin, to come in and leak information to the outside world that proved to be fairly easy. So now they want, if lawyers visit Taghi, they want them to be together. There should be 4 eyes. So if one gets, persuaded to bring information to the outside, the other can say, hold on, we're not going to do that. They want to be able to listen in on conversations between lawyers and suspects, and now you can't. I mean, officially, it's forbidden because it's all confidential. So the regime is getting tougher.
What happened with that? Do you remember the lawyers were being followed and they went out to Dubai and then they saw Daniel Kinahan in the hotel reception? They were going to meet the boss of bosses, I think was what they said.
Well, they're the only ones that are still talking about that incident, but nobody else talks about it, and the prosecutors just ignore it. They don't talk about it anymore. But the lawyers haven't stopped talking and complaining about it, so we haven't heard the end of it yet.
So that's still ongoing. And I don't know, do you think he's unique, a one-off?
No.
I came here to see what Marengo was all about and to try to catch a glimpse of Taghi, the man accused of taking on the state of the Netherlands through his very own brand of narco-terrorism. He's suspected of being behind the murder of a criminal lawyer, a shocking target in a democratic country, of the brother of a state witness, a chilling message to anyone who crosses him, and of the journalist Peter R. de Vries, who gave his voice to victims of crime. I don't think Taghi is unique, nor do I believe there's anything particularly Dutch about him. I think there are Taghis out there throughout the criminal underworld, and I fear the next one could be Irish, and I believe we've a lot to learn from the experience here in the Netherlands. Marengo is coming to its close, but Taghi continues to agitate. He's looking to delay the case further, and he claims that he's grappling to find legal representation. Only time will tell how the judges will look on his predicament, and if they are prepared to let this mammoth trial run into yet another year. Only time will tell. But for now, I want to know what it's been like to work here in the Netherlands in such strange circumstances and under such fear. I'm off to join Jan Meeus for a debrief on all that I've seen and learned. You've been listening to Crime World, a podcast from SundayWorld.com, produced by Ian Mullaney and edited by me, Nicola Tallant. Research assistant is Claude Amini. If you like this show and love true crime, leave us a review. And why not download the free SundayWorld.com app for lots more stories from Ireland and across the globe.